Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one gonna be a good one, y'all. It's your hostess with the most, is burning like toast is. Cosmon Cal, fresh back in from Interior, right down here in the atmospheric heavens. And I'm bringing an angelic being with me. I'm bringing one of the best of the best. You can talk, you can say what you want, but you can't out-info my friend. That's right. I got Dr. Octopus herself. The doctor in the house. Susan B. Martinez. That's right. Hey. Hey. So, y'all know what it is. Y'all know what it is, man. I'm gonna give it a I'm gonna give this music a little turn down on the music real quick. Let me make sure everybody can hear me. If everybody can hear me in the chat, hit your boy with a 1. Hit your boy with a 1 in the chat if everybody can hear me coming through. You know what I mean? While I'm giving these shout outs real quick, give me a 1 in the chat if everybody can hear me just fine, y'all. Let me know what's going on. Okay. All right, we got the ones coming through. With no further ado. First of all, let me get back to this. This is the Jehovah Chronicles lesson number 36. We call this one Shift Happens. The global warming hoax. I got none other than the host. You know, it's your hostess with the mostest. Right? I brought one of my Ethereum buddies with me. Give it up for Dr. Susan B. Martinez. How you doing, Doc? Hey.
That is far and away the best intro I ever got.
Hey.
Far and away.
Hey, we just want to let you know we all love you here, sis. This is gonna be a good show, and we got a topic that affects people so much, but they not even aware of how and why. You know what I mean? And we gonna get off into this global warming hoax. I like to give a little shout out to everybody in the fam before we get started. Everybody who came in. I got Shebrew in the house. Dreadful Cosmano, aka Yaria. That's my Cali Connect right there, man. Create a gang. You say bring them, we raise them. That's right. I got Sister Amazing. That's my sister right there, Nava. Who else we got up in this thing? Shebrew, my swift messenger. You see what I'm saying? It's the swift messenger. Shebrew. Faith is 144. Oh, got my buddy in here, Ray. Somebody finally beat Ray into the room. Shout out to Ray, man. She's a good faithist. Who else we got up in this thing? Elijah 7. Put that super 7 in the air. That's right. Peace and light to the family. Oh, got my sister in here, Sharice Wilson. Thank you for coming through. Then my little baby right here, Jamia Brown Curry, JBC in the house. Shalom to you and your family, sister. Much love to you. On the lookout. Shalom. What did he say? Shalom to all the dearly beloved faithists and beloved Cosmon Cal TV. That's right. We got everybody checking in, man. Thank everybody for coming through, showing your boys some love. Who else we got up in here? My big sister better than your big sister. My big sister Ima. This my big homie right here and she'll beat your sister up. That's my big homie Ema right there. Angelic is in the house. My brother them. Look at my brother them. Fire. Daryl Cosmon is in the house. Uh-oh. Here go my other Ema. Here go my other Ema. Shana. Shalom to you, sister. Shalom. Jay Manson. Shalom, family. Shalom, 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 everybody. Thank y'all for coming through. This one gonna be a good one. This one gonna be a good one. Oh, Castro, thank you for stopping through, man. All praises, man. All praises to the Most High, man. Much love to you. Baby boy Jaway in the house. That's my guy right there. That's my faithful brother. Lawrence Burton is in the house. Peace and blessings, Creator Gang. Gang. Uh-oh. Now, Dizzle's in the house. Uh-oh. Shabir is in the house. Shalom, everyone. You dig what I'm talking about, man? With no further ado, as y'all can see, y'all know what I always come to do. This lesson number 36, the global warming hoax. Shift happens, and as always, hold on. Let me knock the banner down real quick. Let me knock this banner down. 1 second. Let me knock the banner down. As always, y'all know what I come to do. I ain't come back from Etheria to Millie Mouth and him and Hall with you. We came to shed some light with you. You dig what I'm saying down here in Ooze. Hopefully, we can make this thing a little bit better for everybody. As always, y'all know what I come to do. I come to balance all balances and check all checks, because you know what happens next when you see the butterfly vortex. Don't every king need his crown? That's right. Doctor, give me the news. Huh? We got a real bad case of global warming hoax going on, Doc. They are literally trying to scare the people. You see what I'm saying? How you feel about that, Doc?
You talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the main points I wanted to start with. That it's a scaremongering campaign. It's a threat. It's all about fear. And, you know, I read one article after the other about climate change, and you know what? These people don't have a clue what they're talking about. And it also hit me that I want to mention that this opinion of mine, and I share it with many others, although that's not been made too public. This opinion of mine against global warming is on the right-wing agenda, okay?
Right.
And the opposite of that is the left-wing agenda, which they have gotten environmentalism totally confused with this concept, this false concept of global warming. So I want to get into that. And,
but
yeah, the fear is the basic thing, and the other thing to look out for is the money, because I've been trying to find out why falsehood has been alive and kicking for more than 20 years now, and who benefits from it. And so we're going, and you can be sure that it's a gravy train for many people. But, you know, there are so many aspects to this problem that I don't really know where to start. Maybe you want to kick off with something.
Okay, all right. For those who've been in the dark forever, you did what I'm talking about. This is Dr. Susan B. Martinez, author of many of your favorite books, but your newest book which I am in the process of reading right now, which is called Prayer in the Time of Contagion. It is a heavy, it's not a real thick book. It's not a real thick book, but it is heavy. It is heavy. Everybody go out on Amazon, go out and look for that book right there. I don't want to give too much away right now, but you got some heavy stuff in there applied to George Washington. Oh man, blew my mind with the psychic who wrote the letter to George Washington. Oh man, how would she know that it was a female? How would she know? So
she was a black poetess.
Are
we talking about Phyllis Wheatley?
Yes.
Yeah. So she had the seeing.
Man, she listen. Y'all go get that book. Y'all go get that book. It's called Prayer in the Time of Contagion. Prayer in the Time of Contagion. It's not a real big book, but it's heavy. You see what I'm saying? For those who really don't know, I just want to start off with a couple questions, Doc. You know what I mean? Get to know you, you know what I mean? And and then we'll jump right into it and you just take off and you soar. If anything I need to ask, is it okay if I just butt in and and then we back and forth it real quick?
Yeah, we'll just wing it.
Okay, cool. All right, so get it, people, your name and where did you grow up?
My name is Susan Martinez, and actually, I come from a Jewish family in Brooklyn, New York. I got the nickname Poosh in Venezuela when I was doing my field work, and I like when people use my nickname Poosh.
For everybody watching, she told me that the very first time we talked. Blew my mind. I knew she was cool right then. So, being that you that you're from Jewish extraction, did you grow up religious? Would you say?
That's the thing. My parents were not religious at all. They were, they were leftist. I grew up in entirely leftist atmosphere. Most of them were teachers. All of them were musicians. My parents were musicians. My whole early life was music. I actually left that for a long time, but I've come back to it recently, and I remember what the leftists were saying back then. Hey, we're talking about the 50s, They were saying that music could heal the world. Music was the thing to heal the world. And, I don't know. I always remembered that. And now here I am so many years later, and I agree with that.
I agree also. The vibe is very powerful. You know what I mean? And when you can catch it, I believe you're more on the path to understanding your creator when you can actually hear and see the symmetry, the harmony, and the beauty, and hear the music. I believe a person is more on the path of attaining to hear the creator's voice at that point. So
it's a direct inspiration.
I believe so too.
Music and dance
together.
Sure.
Okay, that's right. Okay, another quick question, Doc. As a doctor, what is your doctorate based in?
I went to, I was in New York in my early years, and I went to Columbia University, which is uptown Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
It's, a little ways before you get up to Harlem. I got my degree in ethnolinguistics, so I was thinking that when we get together again, I'd like to discuss linguistic questions, particularly the question of pronouncing Awaspe words and names. And I think it's a great topic, and we could go a lot into Book of Safa with the word list. and other things, and I'd like to get into that. So I've always been totally charmed by language. I love languages. I love studying and speaking foreign languages. I think that's something really missing from today's curriculum in the education area. So now, what am I talking about? I feel like I'm running off at the mouth.
No. We're going to get right into it. Doc, Poosh, my friend, what is global warming?
Okay, I think everybody knows what it is. It's the falsehood that the planet is getting warmer, and not only is the planet supposedly getting warmer and to a dangerous point, but mankind has caused the warming due to his emissions from industry and cars and other forms of pollution. So we want to straighten that out. We want to get into that and pull it apart and find out that it is actually the opposite of the truth. And it's 180 degrees opposite the truth. And we have Osprey that started us on this journey, and we take it from there. You know, Osprey explains at some point or other that, you know, the book can only get us so far. We have to do the rest.
That's right.
And that's what comes with the science. But maybe I should give a little background, because I've never had a chance to do this, how I got into the science. Okay, here's another thought. Whenever I'm interviewed about OSB, I usually say this, is that it's a book of Revelations that breaks down into three major areas: historical, spiritual, and scientific. The science is largely concentrated in the Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy, but it's also spread out throughout the book, just like any other topic. You just never know where it's going to pop up in the last page.
Right.
So we've been given this science, and, you know, I don't think I would have gotten into the Oasis science if it hadn't been for Tom Weigel and Mary Fisher. So can I give a little background on them?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I located myself up from Florida here in North Georgia almost 25 years ago to be with Virginia at Four Winds Village here in Rabun County, Georgia. We're at the foothills of the Smoky Mountains here, and it's a great spot, let me tell you. Okay, so Virginia had this faith-based community going, and I finally joined her there in 1998, and I've been here ever since. So one of the greatest blessings of her setup there was that you got to meet other faces, you know?
Uh-huh.
You finally got to meet other faces. And one of them was Tom Weigel. Mary and Tom are both in spirit now. They became good friends of mine. We had a lot of years together. And Tom was totally into the science part of OSB. He's one of those people, you know, you've got people with all kinds of angles onto OSB, and each of us has a different interest and approach and emphasis. Tom's was the science. In fact, he reproduced the Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy in pamphlet form. I have a few copies left. The title of it was called The New Science. So, anyway, let me try to make a long story short here. He was not only interested in the science, he was focused on rainmaking, and we called him the rainmaker. Also has some, Book of Cosmogony has some verses on how to make rain.
Correct.
And right, okay, and he picked up on that, and really it was a great dream of his to do something about that with the governments of the world, and him Mary and me worked on science subjects for years together. We had a website. I doubt if it's still there because Tom passed away in 2017.
Mm.
And we had a website together. It was called earthvortex.com.
Earth Vortex.
Earthvortex.com.
One second, Pooch. 1 second.
Okay.
Anybody in the chat, any other faith that's in the chat, look that up for me. Earthvortex.com. Let me see if it, y'all check it for me and see if it's still up. Post in the chat and let us know if that site is still up. Okay, go ahead, Pooch.
Right. So Tom, it was amazing. He was a lookalike to Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
I have some pictures of him. So we really seemed to have some of the elements of getting somewhere with space science, but there were problems, we never got too far, but it was a great experience, and I loved them both. Okay, so it was Tom who got me into the science.
Right.
Otherwise, that wasn't my background. I don't have a scientific mind. I'm more interested in artistic things. But once you get into some of these things, you can't just drop it. And so several topics came up, but really the biggest one for me turned out to be this BS global warming, and I have been tormented by it for at least 20 years. I've been researching it and trying to piece things together. So that is a little bit of the background on the science. And I'd like to say that anybody in our group who feels that they're not up to the science, to heck with that. We're not scientists, we're cosmologists. Yeah. We have revelation for that.
Talk to them.
We are cosmologists. Okay, so I was talking about the opposite of the truth. Let me start with the polar bears. This is a good thing,
Yeah, I got some stuff you sent me too, and while you're talking, I'm going to show some pictures to back up what you're saying, if that's okay.
Of course.
All righty. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, they try to pull at your heartstrings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The poor polar bears. Here we go with it's 180 degrees opposite of the truth. There aren't just a few more bears. There are a hell of a lot more bears.
Right.
I'm quoting somebody. Supposedly the melting of the glaciers, and I hope we get to that. Supposedly the melting of the glaciers has cut down the polar bear populations in the North Pole, but this is a crying wolf, and the supposedly endangered polar bears as of 2007 are actually doing quite well, increasing in the Arctic. But even when the statistic was openly acknowledged in the New Scientist, which is the British leading science magazine, it was downplayed by the scientific community and accused of being propped up by the oil industry and part of an orchestrated campaign to undermine the environmental movement. What I just said was actually a quote from an author named Chris Horner, who wrote a book against global warming called Red Hot Lies, and it's good. And I want you to know that it's not the only one. There are several books of that nature, and there's another one in particular I want to mention because I kind of know the author. But here's the deal. It don't matter how many books there are with such an extensive propaganda campaign in our midst. Probably half the people who are in our group think that global warming is happening.
Right. Correct. And this is why we need to bring this to the forefront. But to go into exactly what you were saying about the polar bear population growth, let me read it. Polar bear numbers increased dramatically from around 5,000 in the 1960s to as many as 25,000 today. This is circa 2002. Okay. So in 40 years, they've quintupled. So to as many as 25,000 today, higher than at any time in the 20th century. So if it was getting warmer and they are losing ground, why are there more polar bears? It doesn't make sense. Of the distinct polar bear populations worldwide, only 2 populations are decreasing. The majority of the populations are stable and increasing. And
Chris Horner says the greatest threat to polar bears is computer models.
He's right. He's right. He's exactly right.
Every year, up to 500 polar bears are shot by hunters.
And still with the growth, 5 times as much as it was in the 60s, doesn't make sense.
Okay. And I was wondering where you got the phrase "shift happens" from. Was that from one of my?
Yeah, I got that from you.
Okay. In that case, would it be okay if we got talking about pole shifts and how it relates to?
I was gonna get into that. One of the questions I have here is, what is global shift? Go ahead, Pooh.
Okay. I'm going to read this from the last day, Book of Cosmogony. All I have is verse 11. I don't have the chapter, sorry.
Okay. Let me see. I'm here. I'm in chapter 11.
No, it's verse 11.
Verse 11.
Let me just read it so that you can catch it. Quote, in the early times, the earth was longer north and south than east and west, but the earth assumed the globular form, which was afterward attenuated east and west. Then it again turned to adapt itself. Turned, by the way, is the key word there. To adapt itself to the polarity north and south. In these various turnings of the earth, the same force of the vortex exerted ever to the east and west, by which behavior every portion of the earth has been to the east, to the west, to the north, and to the south, which is proved in the rocks and boulders and mountains of the earth. Okay, so
that's the Book of Cosmogony, chapter 1, verses 11 and 12.
Thank you. That's what it is. Okay. Let me continue on that.
Global shift.
What do you make of this passage? What I make of it is that, okay, I use the image of a beach ball. Okay, think of a big old beach ball, and think of it turning slowly. And okay, now think of it as a globe, and it's turning. Every portion of the earth has been to the east, the west, the north, and the south. So that it's also called magnetic reversal. In the literature, it's called pole shift or magnetic reversal. So this is a white man science. This is a Zen science that recognizes some kind of pole shift taking place of our planet, and it's known as magnetic reversal because they have evidence that the north and south pole have changed places for the eons. You see, there's that beach ball, and okay, roll it slowly until north is in the south position.
Correct.
Okay, and not only that, east and west are also changing places. Okay.
So does that mean? So does that mean the planet not only rotates on its axis, but at certain points the Earth rolls?
Exactly.
Ah.
We are familiar. Okay, our space says, and I think it's in the Book of Osiris. I'm not sure, but it's here somewhere. Our space says the Earth has four motions. We know about rotation, and we know about revolution, and we know about moving through Debunking. But then there's a fourth motion, and it's a little confusing, and I haven't worked it out yet. I'm not part of a team anymore. It's just been me,
right?
All this time. Not to say there aren't others working on the science. Mike McGill is doing tremendous things with the science. Are you familiar with his website called Study of Our Space?
Yes.
Okay, he does a lot. He's particularly good with working with IG and the cycles and the spikes and whatnot. If anybody's into the science, they got to get familiar with Mike's work.
Yeah.
So where was I? What was I saying?
About the fourth movement of the Earth.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad one of us is on top of this. Okay, so the fourth movement, I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but like I say, I'm alone with this. I don't have nobody to bounce off of with the science.
Well, you got some now. You got brothers and sisters now. Creator Gang is in the house.
Okay. So I'm saying that the fourth movement of the Earth is this business of north and south changing place and east-west, known in the scientific literature as magnetic reversal or pole shift, and therefore shift happens. Okay, so it so happens that in one of my books, which you mentioned before when we were talking, Delusions, my book Delusions, Science and Spirituality, there's a chapter disproving the Ice Age, and there's a chapter disproving global warming. The chapter on global warming, I think, is chapter 4, and I think the chapter disproving Ice Ages is chapter 3. But here's the deal. There never was Ice Ages. What are you talking about? The Earth is not a refrigerator. The Earth is not a machine that you can turn on and off. It's totally ludicrous to imagine the Earth getting hot and then getting cold. I mean, it's a joke. But what really did happen? I think oscillation happened.
Yep.
Oscillation is the word I'm using for these turnings that you read about in Cosmin 111.
You're right on point.
Okay.
You're right on point, sis.
Okay, so what we have, we can easily dismiss the Ice Age by looking at the Earth rolling over time, and every region. Okay, do you have a picture of this? That the latitude, let's say 40 degrees north latitude, that is when the Earth oscillates, that's moving either toward the pole or away from it. It's moving, it's slowly rolling toward that position. So that I may have sent you a chart with indications of tropical life in the Arctic regions.
Yeah.
And this is a fact of life that I don't have it in front of me, but that specimens of fig trees and warm weather animals,
like woolly mammoths.
Do you have it in front of you?
I believe so. Shift happens.
Yeah, can you read off some of that if you have it?
Yes, ma'am. Shift happens, excerpted from the Sacred Mammoth, chapter 1, the myth of global warming and the ice ages by Dr. Push. All right, and image 1. Hold on, let me show this. Let me go back and I was showing a waspy. Let me stop screen, stop sharing, and let me show y'all this. Shift happens. Chapter 1, the myth of global warming and the ice ages. In image 1, it shows oscillation, that our planet has been on a roll. Every part of our planet. So for instance, China has been east, China has been west, China has been north, and China has been south. Every part of our planet has been on the North Pole. It has literally been the North Pole. Every part of our planet has been the South Pole. Over the last 14,247,174 years since the creation of the earth, it has been every 24,000 years, or Gadol period, it oscillates. So right here in image 2, it shows the oscillation, how the earth tips and tilts at certain times. So this begs me to ask you a question, Pooch.
Yeah.
Does the oscillation correlate with the precession of the equinoxes and the Gadol period?
I don't. You know what? I was asked that question once before. I don't know about that's a 26,000-year cycle, and that seems awfully close to the Gadol. But I can't answer the first part of your question because I don't have the knowledge. But I can say that I tried to get the time period, how long it takes for a pole shift to happen, for the magnetic reversal to happen, for example, for North and South poles to trade places. And I'll tell you what, it come out, and it just kind of like a speculative idea, because I'm not deep enough into the science of it, but it looked to me like it was a 500,000-year period. And in fact, when you look at the sacred numbers in Owaspé, there is, I think it's called a sum or a something or other, that is 586,000 years. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, 576,000 years.
Yeah, and I think that's the period for the oscillation to take place. And one of the problems in this study, and I discovered it, I noticed it particularly this afternoon as I was going through my notes to prepare for this, is that in white man science, in Uzian science, they have the age of the Earth much greater than what is given in Owaspé.
Exactly.
Okay, so I wonder if anybody out there knows how old the Earth is in Owaspé. That's a pretty cool trivia question, huh?
14,247,174 years.
Thank you, sir.
Exactly.
Okay, and Uzian science has it in 10 times that amount.
Yeah, it's like 4 billion, 4.5 billion, 4.5, 4.2 billion.
Okay, they went wild with the numbers.
Right.
And I've had to deal with that. And you know, even in the historical part of Owaspé, where we're dealing with the creation of man and the evolution of the races, the so-called evolution of the races. Even that is so damn confusing with the exaggerated dates they give for the primordial geological periods on Earth. They give dates that are like 25 times the amount of time the Earth has existed. So you cannot trust these dates at all. And the same for mankind. You know, I wrote another book on the evolution of the races against Darwinian evolution. And, you know, what we know from Owaspe is that the Asu man was around here on Earth 80,000 years ago, and it was something like 75,000 years ago that, or maybe 72, I'm not sure.
75.
Okay.
You right on point. You go ahead, Doc. You on point. I don't mean to cut you off. You on point, Doc. Keep going.
Okay. When the angels came and mixed, and then the races began to intermingle, and things started happening, and the earth started filling in with more high grade people, more high grade humans. All of that could only have happened 75,000 years ago. You should look at the numbers that the paleontologists are giving for earliest man. They go, you know, and every decade it goes of our studies.
It goes further. It goes further back.
It goes further, right, until, okay, because I really studied this. I had to study it to dump on evolution. And it started out, they had earliest man, 500,000 years ago. Then it was 1 million. Then it was 2 million. And then it became a big game to find another creature that was older than that. Okay, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million. The last I read, it's up to 6 million, and who knows? And that's when I stopped reading. Who knows where they've got it now? But it is so false, and it's just their own little game that they play.
I've personally worked out a way to mathematically use the dates of the Earth compared to what they give to, you know, the carbon dating and all that, and carbon 12 and 14 and all these astronomical dates. I've worked out a number to where that actually falls on the Gadolls. Well, not on the Gadol, but on the timetables of prophecy. So the numbers. So we know the Earth is roughly 14,247,174 years old. So you go the 14.2 million, right? You divide that into 4.5 billion, you'll come out with a number that's 0.03166. And you can use that to decipher some of these crazy dates, and it'll bring it back more down to a manageable a more truthful and manageable way of deciphering the text. It was tough for me. I ain't gonna lie. I had to literally come up with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
to try to make the fallacy line up with truth, I had to come up with a theorem. You see what I'm saying? To be able to work through it to even make any of it make sense. So on to the point where you were saying the warm weathered species buried in the far north, right? Let's get it. Let's now what she's laying down to y'all is that in cold regions today, right? We find different animals, right, who live in warm weather areas, who eat plants that are tropical and subtropical. And we find them flash frozen in Siberia, in Mongolia, all through Russia, everywhere where there's ice, we found these animals.
And they call it an anomaly.
Right.
They call it a mystery, and that's how they write it off.
Exactly. But doing the math, this is why when she's saying the sum, the 576,000 year period, which are broken down into 4 144,000 year periods, which are separated into 2 72,000 year periods, or 6 24,000 Gadol periods, which is where you get your 6 days of creation story, and why they also say one day is like 1,000 years to God. But what they've been finding in these places is animals flash frozen. First of all, the faithists and Susan and herself in the book of Delusions, y'all got to go get this. Delusions in Science and Spirituality, the fall of the standard model and the rise of knowledge from the unseen worlds. Y'all gotta go get this one. This is one of the most slept on books, and it's so well written. I ain't kissing up to no ass. I ain't sucking up to nobody. This my homie, and it's dope. This is a dope book. Because what we've ended up finding out, Poosh, and which I'm sure you would agree, is everything that they told us was a lie comes out to be real. And everything that they told us wasn't real comes to be real. They twist everything. They lie about everything. So
180 degrees, the exact opposite.
So if you got a hard time believing in dragons or dinosaurs, you dig what I'm talking about? That they'll tell you this stuff wasn't real. There were no mermen, or there was no older civilizations that just didn't exist. They're lying. They can't explain it, and they pump too much money into their scientific model. So now they can't go back and tell you the truth, or they have to admit they were wrong. But we see some of out of this research who's been doing, right? I didn't know till I read Delusions in Science and Spirituality that the woolly mammoth, not the mastodon, not the hawagata, the woolly mammoth was a warm subtropical animal. I didn't know that it lived in jungles. I thought it was like an elephant. But then I thought, where do elephants live? The elephants live in the jungles and in sub-Saharan tropic areas. So did their early ancestor, the woolly mammoth. So it should come to no shock that, or it should come to a total shock that they found woolly mammoths flash frozen, with still chewing on tropical plants that only grow near the equator. Still chewing on it, and in their stomachs, undigested. This thing is standing up, flash frozen. It's got skin on it. The eyes are still there. Teeth still there. Hair is still there. Even the food in its stomach is undigested. What happened? Shift happened. Is what we come here to tell you. And I believe what they call ice ages are really just glacial maximums, because an ice, An ice age is any time that ice is on a planet. And we've always had ice on the planet.
Right. Ice age is any place where ice is on the planet.
Yeah.
It's not a time. Ice age is not a time. It's a total myth. There was no ice ages, but every part of the world, every land mass, every region slowly rolled in oscillation toward one of the poles.
Correct. And then, to back that up, y'all can go look at true north and magnetic north, which are two different things. Magnetic north constantly moving and has moved 150 miles in the last 10 years. So this thing is moving. But let's look at some of these warm weather species buried in the far north. In the Arctic Circle, we find fig palms. How? In Spitsbergen, right, which is 78 degrees north, they found warm sea animals, sequoia trees, and corals in coal beds. Impossible in a cold region. So that means that Spitsbergen was near the equator at one time. Also found fossils of petrified logs 30 feet deep under the ground. In Siberia, they found tinder plants fossilized as well in the stomach of the sacred mammoth. Huh? Didn't we just tell y'all that? What about North Greenland? North Greenland is north today. It's cold there today. They found magnolia trees. Let it sink in a second. New Siberian islands, forests, luxuriant vegetation, and buried fossils in North Greenland. In the New Siberian Islands. What about Alaska? They found lion bones. A lion in Alaska.
Right.
Buried. It's buried.
Migration of the poles is another phrase that has been used to describe the oscillation. In fact, there's an interesting side story to this. Everybody's heard of Sherlock Holmes and Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Yeah.
Who wrote that series? Did you know that Doyle became a spiritualist big time in his later years?
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, big time, and he made quite a splash with it in the last 20 years of his life. And here's an interesting side story. He was a medical doctor, you know.
Uh-huh.
This is back in, he was contemporary there. He was younger than Newbro, Dr. Newbro, but we are talking about the 1880s, around
right.
that period. He was a medical doctor, and he was writing eventually he became a full-time writer, of course, so popular. But he was a medical man, and one of his patients was General Drayson. And, I got an email here that I received from Paul Parov. Do you know Paul? He's in Australia. He's done a lot of work.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, anyway, and he's still active. I've seen his name. I think he's on Facebook. Paul Parov, he's in Australia. He said, this was back in 2007. Dear Susan, doing a Google search, I found that Arthur Conan Doyle's occult knowledge was due largely to General Drayson. It's written in a book called The New Revelation. It says, Arthur Conan Doyle, famous British writer and creator of Sherlock Holmes and president of College of Psychic Studies, Federation Spirit International, and London Spiritualist Alliance, between 1885 and 88, he was invited to take part in table turning. Do you know what that is?
Where the spirits turn the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That's how they did it. At the house of the patient, General Drayson, who himself was a teacher in the Greenwich Naval College, a keen mathematician and a man of scholarly education. They were studying apports. Apports is when physical objects appear out of nowhere. This was part of their work together. I want to skip all that because the point is that Drayson was also an astronomer and came up with the tilt cycle of the Earth, and he called it the second rotation. See, we're tentatively calling it the oscillation of the Earth, that beach ball rolling along. He called it the second rotation. There's a comment here that applies to this. I replied to Paul's email, and I said, going through old notes, I found the little scrap that got me started on Drayson. This is it, and it's all I scribbled down. Major General A.W. Drayson, 1827 to 1901, astronomer, got 30,000 years of Earth history through spirit of an astronomer, who came through a lady medium, and the communications disclosed the second rotation of the Earth, which explains glacial periods and variations in climate. It was known as a fact that the position of the pole varied. They knew this in the 19th century. The present pole star, which is now little more than 1 degree from the pole of the heavens, was 2,000 years ago fully 10 degrees from this pole. Consequently, the axis of the Earth must have changed its direction. And the cause of the precession of the equinox, this is what you asked about, of the change of direction of the Earth's axis and of other effects, is really due to a second rotation of the Earth. So that kind of answers the question you asked before that I couldn't answer.
I'm on point then. I'm on point. I'm on point. Okay.
Okay, and
now
before we leave,
go ahead, Doc. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Well, we're going to leave this topic because there's so much more to cover. But before we leave it, I'll just remind you of that last sentence in Cos 1:11. It has been to the east, west, north, and south, which is proved in the rocks and boulders and mountains of the Earth. Okay, that's what I want to comment on because the rocks and the boulders. This is about rocks and boulders that zig when they should zag. They have striations that point to record the direction of the Earth's magnetic field at the time that they hardened, at the time of their formation. Mineral crystals in the shape of tiny compass needles are encased in rocks of every age, and they dutifully record the direction of the Earth's magnetic field. Among rocks and boulders, and this is jumping off that Owaspic verse, among rocks and boulders, which include the iron oxides, hematite, magnetite, etc., the grains are seen to line up like minuscule compass needles. These magnetic fossils, as they're called, are frequently found in lava fields, and they portray astounding changes in the direction of Earth's magnetic field, or more correctly, changes in polarity. It is an optical illusion that the magnetic field is changing. What is changing is the orientation of the continents.
Is this also known as continental drift?
Continental drift, isn't that where where Pangea was all one landmass and then it started to spread out.
Yes.
I think there's a connection, but I can't wrap my mind around it at the moment.
What about this, Pooch? What about this? I want to go to the book of cosmogony and prophecy, right?
Yeah.
Chapter 1, verse 23. Or we're going to read 22 and 23. Okay. Now, if two corporeal substances are rubbed together quickly, friction and heat result. This is a manifestation of vortexia. And this is one of the reasons once I read Owaspy, I knew global warming was a falsity, right? Let's go to 23 right here. In the beginning of the Earth's vortex, the current concentrated into its center. Certain substances, described later, where by friction, the vortexia manifested in heat, so that when the congregation of materials of the Earth's substances were together, they were as a molten mass of fire. This is proven as a scientific certainty that at one time our planet was a molten mass of fire. And from that time forward, logically, just thinking logically, if it's not on fire anymore, right, that it must have cooled and has been cooling since the time it was molten. So how could it heat up again, then cool down, then heat up again, then cool down? You see what I'm saying? It didn't make any sense. But you know what this did for me personally? It let me know why in Owaspy they called the planet the red planet. Because our planet is not only is it's young. Our planet is a baby still. You see what I'm saying?
We're in middle age. We're in middle age now for the planet.
Yeah.
In fact, when you were talking about 144, when you were breaking down those figures before, I was thinking that's the age for the human race.
Yeah, that's the Optian age.
And 144,000, and we're halfway through that now.
Correct.
And so Cosmin is really the beginning of the second half of our tenure on Earth.
Exactly. And let me drop down and read 24. And for a long period of time after the fire disappeared, two great lights manifested, one at the north and one at the south, right? Where the Earth is a central planet, like a central planet like the sun, the light would have been all around, in which case it would have called a photosphere. Right? By Vortexia, the Earth was formed as a ball of fire.
Open thy eyes, O man. There is a time of childhood, a time of Genesis, a time of old age,
and a time of barrenness.
To all men. Even so is it with all the corporeal worlds I have created. First is vapor, the vortex carrieth it forth, and as it condenses, its friction engendereth heat, and it is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven. Then it taketh its place as a newborn world, and I set it in the orbit prepared for it.
Come on, Susan. Come on. Oh, man.
In the beginning was a molten mass.
That's right.
Which, of course, began to cool off in time, and all the time. What would make a planet change its pattern and start heating up again? Global warming. What would make a planet freeze and then defrost? Ice ages. Is there any evidence in all of cosmogony astronomy of a planet changing its habit mid-career?
No.
Planetary worlds, as even 19th century sages knew, began in fire and ends in ice, dry and cold, like Mars.
Come on. Yeah. The only way to prove creator is to look at his creation. So either one or two things happen to Mars. It is either older than Earth and is entered into its barren stage, or like the myths say, a cataclysm happened and ushered in Hotu or Adu.
No, we're not going to vote for cataclysm because that's their cop-out.
Right.
That's their cop-out for anything they can't explain. It's a cataclysm. An asteroid came and killed off the dinosaurs, etc. No, Mars is the senior citizen of the solar system, and it's freezing cold now, but it once had rivers and luxurious vegetation. Just say no. It went cold and dry and lost motion. Those are the three things that happen to a planet as it ages and moves toward extinction. It goes cold, it goes dry, and it slows down. And it's not that different from old age, even in human beings.
I was going to say the same thing. I was going to say the same thing. The planet got older. It slowed down.
And it's a lesson. It's a lesson for what is in store for Earth. But we have, the race has another 72,000 years here, so don't sweat it. And the planet is, extinction is a natural thing. I was just going through my notes, and I was kind of shocked by what I read. And even in the 19th century, they couldn't handle the concept of extinction. The Christian ideals had something to do with it. God wouldn't let animals go extinct, how cool that would be, etc. It wasn't until Cuvier in the 1830s when the first dinosaur was discovered in UK that they began to entertain the idea of animals going extinct,
Yeah.
Open thy eyes, oh man. There's a time of childhood, a time of genesis, and a time of old age, and a time of death to all men.
That's right. They is global warming, right? Is it even a scientific consensus? Do the scientists themselves all believe in this?
No, emphatically no. But everybody's been squashed and intimidated by what's going on, and the money. It's where the money is flowing. That's all it is, honey. It's the money, honey.
It's the money, honey.
It always is. It's the money, honey.
So basically, if we follow the dollars, we find out who's behind this mess, huh?
I think so. And since you say that, I'm going to skip over to another area, which is where we look at these things. Let me see. We look at who who been. Let's hit on that for a little while. We should always skip around and come back.
Right.
Who benefits from it? First of all, it's a $1 billion industry now. Do you know that more money is spent on global warming research than on cancer research?
Wow, no, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
So you can imagine all the careers that are tied up in this completely. So they're certainly in favor of it. It's been totally politicized, And let me see what I want to get to here. Who benefits? I think I've got some notes here. Oh, here's a corporate. Something we could say about the corporate. Yeah. Okay. Look at all the harm we've done to our environment.
Yeah.
Including everything. And so one reason for being, one reason that global warming took off the way it did is that it's a good scapegoat. You can blame. Okay, we're talking about blaming. I call it climate porn. The people who are in my category call it climate porn. Or, all the blame game. Blaming hurricanes on waters, oceans warming up. That is false. I've got really good statements from meteorologists and climatologists who have totally disproven. It's just not true that the warm oceans cause greater, stronger hurricanes. But as long as I'm onto that, I got to say one thing.
Go ahead.
Right now, we're at a sunspot maximum, which is the same as the 11-year peak in the
the odic cycle?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
It's an 11-year cycle, and whenever the shape of the magnetic lens, the vortex of the Earth changes, and when it gets in most compressed, that's when you have the sunspot year, or the solar maximum, or the peak period of stress on the planet, in the form not only in weather, floods, droughts, hurricanes, storms, and everything else, and not only the weather, but in the stock market and in human health and so much else. So what I wanted to say is that the period we're in right now, in the year 2022, we're passing through the peak of the odic 11-year cycle, and all this drought, all this really extreme weather and storms is going to pass in the next year or two and calm down. And so, but this has been grist for the mill for the global warming people. They just turn around and blame it all on global warming and go, see what it's doing, these terrible storms, global warming. It's all false.
Wow. Now, when you were saying, who benefits? And okay. I want to get into how they are going to implement. Okay, there was an old joke told back in the 90s by one of our greatest comics. His name was Robin Harris. He said they charge us for electricity, they charge us for water. The next thing they're going to do is charge us for air.
Yeah, that's in science fiction as well.
Yeah, well, the process of how they're going to begin, and mind you, this has already been going on, fellas, ladies, faithists. This process forced the UK out of the EU because it broke them. This system is called cap and trade. Cap and trade. Let's get into this. I just want to read a little definition on what cap and trade is. A system for controlling carbon emissions and other forms of atmospheric pollution, by which an upper limit is set on the amount a given business or other organization. And remember, a business can be a person, and a person can be a business or other organization may produce, but which allows further capacity to be bought from other organizations that have not used their full allowance. So what they're doing is they're capturing carbon, CO2, and then they're compressing it. And then they're charging people through taxes, licensing, um, all type of regulations are added into cleaning air that doesn't need to be cleaned.
Right.
Okay, there was an his name is slipping my mind right now, but there was a scientist who said if every person on the earth, every man, woman, and child got in a car and ran the car for a year nonstop, just laid on the gas for a year, you couldn't produce enough carbon emissions to make a dent in the atmosphere. He said you just have bigger and greener plants.
Oh, right. So here again, it's 180 degrees opposite of the truth. Plant life requires carbon, and when there has been, they even discovered in the Mesozoic when there was more carbon, that the plant life diversified and increased. Remember when Al Gore got so popular for his film, The Inconvenient Truth? He's the one who promoted global warming.
In the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. In the 90s, he was Clinton's vice president in the 90s. President Clinton hosted 100 weather forecasters in the White House and urged them to sell global warming to their viewers. That was in 1997. And Al Gore, who took off after leaving the White House, took off as the big-time global warming guy. He claimed that tropical diseases were moving north because of global warming, and that a few years ago somebody got malaria in Detroit. And that's because of global warming. Wow. But here, guess what? Malaria is spread by mosquitoes, not temperature.
Exactly. And think about this. I want y'all to think about this. Hold on, let me stop sharing my screen real quick, because I gotta show y'all. They're saying carbon dioxide, right, is making the planet hot by blocking out sun and then trapping somehow light lower towards the planet. They're saying carbon dioxide is doing this. Listen to me. I want y'all to listen, y'all. What is compressed carbon dioxide called? Dry ice. So how is it going to make the planet hotter when carbon makes everything cooler? Carbon dioxide makes everything cooler. Listen, dry ice. So when they do this cap and trade, and they snatch all this carbon dioxide out of the air, carbon monoxide, they also have another one called CO2e, which is every other so-called greenhouse or atmospheric gas that they're trying to trap too. First of all, what are you going to do with it when you compress it and turn it into a block of dry ice? Then what are you going to do with it? The scientists say they're going to just dump it in the oceans. that is going to kill everything.
Yeah.
It is going to kill everything. Don't y'all fall for this trick. Don't y'all fall for this mess. They gonna ruin the world. We got to get these evil people up out of control. You dig what I'm saying? This is serious. They're gonna kill. There won't be no world. In 30 years, you keep letting these people, they're gonna try to kill us off. They're trying now. They're trying it now, y'all.
And especially to poor countries, they're moving industry and its toxins to poor countries, which are not beholden to the emission rules that the first world has set up. Carbon dioxide has no ill effect at all compared to depleted uranium, bombs, fallout, poisons, pesticides, contaminants, air pollution, deadly waste from mining operations, which irradiate and kill thousands of people here in America, especially in the western states, mostly around the vicinity of Indian reservations. So many cases of cancer and miscarriage. And the draconian rules that are applied have been applied to the peasants of the world. For example, with all of this, the third world peasants are now under the gun with disastrous controls and regulations that restrict rice paddies in the hope of reducing marsh gas, because marsh gas, which is methane, is another greenhouse gas like CO2. Wow. And it's just another trace gas. It's a minor part of the air. The rice paddies are flooded by irrigation and generate carbon in the form of methane, which is also natural gas. And so they have put restrictions on these farmers, and they are the real victims of the world's global warming hysteria.
Can I
go.
share something with you that you sent me?
Yeah.
This it says blaming CO2, right? Now you see that is epic flooding. That is flooding right there. See what that says? Let me read this to y'all. Epic flooding. Now, I want y'all to mind where this is, right? People gather in front of a road washed out by unprecedented flooding in Pakistan.
Yeah.
There ain't no carbon emissions in Pakistan. They hardly got cars.
You got that right.
Right? In Pakistan's northern Swat Valley on August 27th, the country's climate minister described the devastation, which has killed more than 1,130 people since mid-June, as a climate-induced humanitarian disaster of epic proportions. How?
Right. This is one of the things that happens at the peak of the oat cycle, floods and droughts. And speaking of drought, you know that the effect of carbon dioxide on plants is a healthy one, and it's especially useful in dry regions. It encourages plants to grow in drought conditions. So what we're doing with all of this is setting up for the starvation of peasant life on our planet.
Yep. Damn.
And high prices also. It ends up with all the restrictions going to end up with high prices. And again, the poor people are the most are affected the worst by it.
The Max Load says the air is made of more nitrogen than oxygen and carbon. And what is compressed nitrogen? Liquid nitrogen. Ice cold. Again, proving that global warming is false. Huh? So You dig what I'm saying?
And also this. Part of the problem is that we can't be sure if carbon dioxide levels are a cause of heat or actually an effect.
Right.
And it is an effect of heat. It's not a cause, because after the winter, when the springtime rolls around, the ground heats up and emits
Carbon dioxide naturally.
It releases carbon dioxide regularly in the springtime. It's a natural part of nature.
Talk to him, sis. Talk to him. Hey, can I do a little something real quick?
Do it.
I want to go into something you wrote. This is Delusions in Science and Spirituality, right? And it backs up basically what we've been talking about for the whole night, basically, which is that, and it says on page 180 in the global warming part, page 180, as our own planet's axial speed decreases, the Earth is also declining in magnetism, or a weaker electromagnetic field. Atmosphere, gravity, plasticity, which is plate tectonics, moisture, radiance, and heat. As verified by space satellites, our electromagnetic field is weakening and thinning, declining noticeably. Some say by as much as 15% since the 17th century, or as others have it, 10% in the last 150 years. Another guesstimate says 50%, excuse me, in the past 2,500 years. Whatever the correct figure, we have already seen that the young Earth registered a fabulously turbocharged atmosphere recorded in ancient rocks, some of which give readings of 100 times today's magnetism. These are the oldest rocks on Earth and have dutifully recorded the enormous amplitude of our planet's original force field, its vortex. The subsequent decay of electromagnetic field can be measured against these old rocks and boulders, silent record keepers of our planet's early field, a supercharged dynamo, bristling with energy, electrical storms, monumental surges, and tumultuous winds. I just wanted to add that into showing the aging and the impossibility. And see, I'm old enough. I'm in my 40s. I'm old enough to remember there was no global warming. They never talked about global warming. The big thing that they talked about, and back me up, Push, am I right? In the 70s, 80s, was nuclear winter.
Right.
That was what they talked about when I was coming up. Nuclear winter. It was never none of this till the 90s. Till Gore, to the guy who can't spell. Remember, he went to the classroom, tried to spell potato, couldn't spell potato. Lost the presidency after that. That's why he started pushing the global warming stuff. He couldn't spell potato. Lost his presidential points, went to the basement after that. They said, this dude too dumb. He can't be our president. You know what I mean? So it was over with for Gore after that, but he set us up. He set us up with these ideals that they're pushing on us right now, that they're going to scare people into acquiescing into. What you think about that?
Those floods in Pakistan.
Yeah.
Here's where anything that happens, they turn around and say, "Hey, it's global warming." here's an article from Time Magazine. What was it, last month that they had the terrible flood? Just recently.
Yeah.
And right away they're talking about our carbon footprint and climate. The name of the article is Climate Changes, and the subtitle is Accelerating Crises Make a Grim Backdrop to Sudden and Striking Advances. So here's about our carbon footprint, and the Russian invasion of Ukraine has codified the strategic risk of reliance on fossil fuels. And so we're talking about emissions and CO2. And at last, government has stepped in decisively. The Inflation Reduction Act in the U.S. will spend hundreds of billions of dollars to push the country closer to decarbonizing.
It's a trick. Okay. What do you think about when now this guy's a doofus, but you know, he did tell the truth on a lot of things. What do you think about when Trump was in office and he said global warming was a hoax?
Okay, here's the deal. I'm glad you said that because I don't know if I mentioned this already, but this is you got to admit this is a right-wing agenda. This is part of the right-wing agenda, and it just shows up the I don't know, the illusion maybe. I don't know the right word to use, but between the left and the right, I mean the left are the broken-hearted environmentalists, you know, and pulling at our heartstrings for the environment with its false science. I think that it's got to be. I just feel that it's got to be the shadow elite that's behind it all, and they what is the word? They got the lefties. They got the lefties working for their agenda by calling this an environment. By calling these people environmental activists. It's such a joke, you know, because it's hurting the environment.
Right. That's the activity they're doing. They're hurting the environment. They're not doing the good work for the environment. They're actually hurting the environment. Now when you get down to it, right? I'm gonna try to, you know, I'm a more simplify guy. I like to look at a thing and then break it down to its compounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And I, when we get to the heating of the planet, the motion of the planet, the life on the planet, the actual oscillations, orbits, energy, it seems, and would you agree that the causation of all of it is the vortex?
The rounding and flattening of the vortex is the thing to look at when you want to understand the fluctuations in climate. The sunspot cycle, the 11-year sunspot cycle, is basically equivalent to the Owaspe 11-year-old, which comes from the winter tables from
timetables of prophecy.
Yeah, the winter tables.
Uh-huh.
The Egyptians had that, and they worked with all the multiples of 11. So it's the flattening and rounding of the magnetic lens, which is basically the shape of the vortex changing. I have something on that here. Let me see if I can find it, because I want to, as long as we're talking about that, the shape. We're talking about the shape of the vortex. So I'm trying to, I've got my notes in front of me here, and I'm not finding it. But that's the key thing to keep in mind when the 11-year cycle is at its height. The vortex is rounded or compressed. Both of those words are used to describe its shape. And there's more friction and there's more of these weather disasters that we're experiencing right now. But we are coming out of that cycle next year, and there will be less floods and so on. Even though drought is a continually worsening because the planet is aging now. And Osprey warns that when the aging takes place, it takes place rapidly.
Yeah.
So drought is a continuous. It's just the same as the cooling of the planet and the drying of the planet are the two basic elements that we need to understand for Earth science.
And
they're not understood.
And would you call that understanding Aja and Jaya? Or a giving to the planet, or time of giving to the planet, and a time of taking away from the planet?
Yeah, I don't know quite what you mean by that. Here's the same thing. I found it. Follow the money. With all the bucks flowing to the warmest coffers, we end up with a spate of instant ad hoc theories pinning even earthquakes on global warming. Melting glaciers, authorities now declare, change the pressure on charge the pressure on tectonic plates. Thus, global warming leads to earthquakes when massive landslides shift the pressures on underlying faults. That's white man science, and that's blaming everything on. But earthquakes are also what happens as a result of the compression of the magnetic lens. That all the drastic and stressful events in climate are associated with the compression of the vortex. Here's a question. Mm-hmm. Why would a hurricane system get organized at the same time that stock markets and tornadoes and glaciers and tectonic plates are acting up? Hey, that's all part of the 11-year cycle and the compression of the Earth's vortex. That's the new science, and we're just getting started with it, even though it's been revealed in Osprey for almost 150 years.
Right. Let me see.
This is the underlying mechanism. I found that when I was researching it, I found that the Israeli scientists and French scientists were looking at the ionosphere in connection with earthquakes, and that's on the right road because the ionosphere is roughly the magnetic field of the Earth, and its changes are what is behind hurricanes and earthquakes and all of this happening in the same period of time because of the shape of the Earth's vortex.
Can I read something to you?
Go ahead.
Book of Cosmogony, chapter 3 and 16. This goes right into what she's saying. This is what she's saying, y'all. As the lens power loses by flattening the vortex, the increases, listen, you lose power by flattening the vortex, and you increase it by rounding the vortex. When does the rounding and flattening happens? Throughout the seasons in a year. And that parlay is played on an 11-year cycle called an ode. 3 odes are one generation. And what we know is one 11-year cycle repeats the last 11 years. You see what I'm saying? Day one of the 11-year cycle repeats the first 11 years. In that 11 years, and then it'll do it again in 22, and it'll do it again in 33. So listen, she's giving y'all some game right now how weather is created, why tornadoes, why And what I'm telling you is, even JBN gave the Masons these powers. And if you have the timetables of prophecy, you know why the stock market happens the same time the hurricanes happens.
Right.
They're predicting it and they're doing it on purpose. Why? Because 3:16 says, as the lens power loses by flattening the vortex and increases by rounding the vortex, it will be observed that the position of the moon's vortex relative to the Earth's is a fair conclusion as to the times of ebb and flood tide. Therefore, tables of 33 year periods can be constructed very nearly expressing the variations of Vortexia for every day in the year.
Yeah.
And to
right. It's a new science.
Yep. But the Masons have had it. The Masons have had it since JBN went over there. You always want to know how they dominate the planet, and you never see them because they already know where you're going to be. This is all a plan. People, we got to take our power back. And the only way to do it is to get in line with Creator. You want to stop white supremacy? Huh? Read the book of Jehovah's Kingdom on Earth. You want to stop? You want to stop the capitalistic society? We call it communal living.
Yeah.
This is the only way. Creator is the only way. There is no other way to get this done. Look what it say. Look what it say. Therefore, tables of 33-year periods can be constructed very nearly expressing the variations of Vortexia for every day in the year.
Yeah.
And to prophesy correctly as to the winters and summers, so far as light and darkness and heat and cold are concerned. This flattening and rounding of the Vortexian lens of the Earth is one cause. Uh-oh. What do you mean? There are other causes, Cosmon. This is just one cause of the wonderful differences between the heat of one summer compared with another. This kills. This is the death blow to all global warming.
Yeah.
And would you I like to ask you a question. Was it hotter in the 1930s on average than it is today?
That's where we can get into PDO. I'm sorry, did I do something?
Go ahead.
Are we good? One of probably the best book. I tried to send you a picture of this. Probably the best book on the topic, the way we're looking at it, is called The Great Global Warming Blunder by Dr. Roy W. Spencer. And he's one of the major climatologists in the state of Alabama, which is bordering where I live. I live in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I corresponded with him, and I also spoke with Dr. John Christie, who's the chief climatologist of the state of Alabama and appointed by the governor. And in fact, when I spoke to Dr. Christie, John Christie, he was at the airport, and he was on his way back from Washington, D.C., where he appeared before some committee in Congress, and he was so discouraged. You know, this was during Obama time. I mean, he said the whole agenda in the government was against hearing the truth about climate. So, okay, what I was trying to get at was PDO. It's called. This has to do with fluctuations in climate.
Could you say it again? PDO?
Yeah, PDO. It stands for Pacific Decadal Oscillation. Pacific Decadal Oscillation, and it's PDO. And Dr. Spencer, who wrote the book, The Great Global Warming Blunder, it looks at global temperature trends and how they change in 3 periods. Okay, so there was a warming up in the 1940s and a slight cooling until the 1970s, and warming since then. You know that after 1997, around there, you know, the climate started cooling again. These are they had to fake all the warming statistics they gave after the new century began. This PDO might cause a small fluctuation in cloud cover. See, these people deal with cloud cover, and they know the science of cloud cover and that also works in cycles, and some of them probably correspond to our Egyptian prophetic numbers, you know, all the multiples of 11, because it looks like the warm trend in the 40s lasted probably a spell, you know, a 33-year period, 11 times 3, and then cooling until the 70s, and then warming, and then dropping down again at the end of the 1990s. PDO might cause a small fluctuation in cloud cover resulting from these circulation changes. This is Dr. Spencer, Dr. Roy Spencer. Many scientists like Dr. Roy speak of a natural increase in CO2 as a result of warming. Note that this is the opposite of causation in this area of man-made global warming. In the case of clouds and temperature, we're once again confronted with the question of cause versus effect. And Dr. Roy explains, this is in quotes, since there is less cloud cover over the Earth in unusually warm years, the argument went the warming caused less cloud cover, which allowed more sunlight in, which enhanced the warming. But how did the researchers know that the warmer temperatures caused a decrease in cloud cover rather than the decrease in cloud cover causing the warming temperatures?
Exactly.
Well, it turns out they didn't. This is Dr. Spencer's specialty. He's an atmospheric scientist. Quote, we now have published evidence of decreases in cloud cover causing warmer temperatures, yet it has gone virtually unnoticed, end quote. And, you know, that goes for so much of the truths that have been revealed and can be revealed. They just go unnoticed until their moment comes. But I agree with you that, you know, we have to go with the Creator from now on in order to get the answers.
Yeah, exactly. Now I got on you on the screen. I'm at climate.gov, right? And they got going out for ice cream, a first date with the Pacific Decadal Oscillation, right? But
PDO.
Yeah, the PDO. But one thing they're doing, see, the thing is, you can't hide all the lies. You can't hide all the truths. They have a Pacific Decadal Oscillation status from 1900 to 2016.
Okay.
It is colder.
That's it, you know.
And it was warmer in the 1930s. Well, excuse me, actually from 25 to 45 than it is now. Period. It's colder now. So you can't hide. You can't. What's the old saying? You can trick some of the people some of the time, but you can't trick all the people all the time. Huh.
So global warming has become a red herring for all of the climate disasters that we've faced, and they like that because so much of it has been wrought instead by industry in cahoots with government, and they're all in cahoots, and that's how we ended up with this gigantic propaganda campaign. It's a colossal game of misdirection.
Yep. What do they call that game? What do they call that? The three card Monty. Is that what they call it? The little 3-card Monty. Find the queen, and they moving the cards all to the side, and you dig what I'm talking about. Then some guy next to you bumps into you. You look at him, and now you don't know which cards are being played.
Right, and some of these disasters are not according to nature's PTO and all of the other natural cycles that we can find, but they are traceable to secret weaponizing projects that all the advanced countries in the world are practicing at this time.
No, if y'all go look into HARP, HAARP, HARP. Go look into CERN. Right. Go look into CERN. Go look into NOAA. Y'all might not know about NOAA.
Tell me.
It's the Northern Atlantic. Hold on. Let me go look it up. I don't want to lie.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but NOAA is they literally make clouds. They make all type of weather, because if you can make a cloud, you can make it rain.
See, the militaries are interested in weather modification for sake of warfare, and most of these projects are secret.
National Oceanic.
And they need global warming to blame.
Yep.
They need a scapegoat.
They need a scapegoat. Exactly. It's called the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Oh, that's it.
That's NOAA.
And, there were record-breaking twisters in the 1950s, 19 separate ones in Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas in 1955 on a single day. And guess what? It was just around the time of the H-bomb tests in that same region. There's a science writer who's really wonderful. His name is William Lyne, Lyne, and I've got most of his books, and he lays it all out. And the ozone hole, according to William Lyne, is probably the result of H-bomb detonations launched in the Antarctic by the U.S. military in the 1950s. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, honey. We don't know what's going on.
Well, this is William Lyne, right?
William Lyne, Lyne. He was in New Mexico, and he was a child when he was in the middle of some of these tests that they did out there. He's got some really great stories to tell. Yeah,
I'm looking at one of his books right here called Occult Science Dictatorship. He has another one, Pentagon Aliens.
That's it. I've got it on my bookshelf. You got to read all of these, because he's really got the truth of science as good as a wasp to back it up,
Yeah. He got another one called Occult Ether Physics. What?
Oh, yeah.
What this dude on, man? I got to check out William Lyne.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Owaspy kind of got like little code words. Like I can kind of tell when a person is a faithist because they speak away. They say certain words. You know what I mean? And they're usually words nobody else says. You dig what I'm talking about? So you kind of know, like, he read Owaspy. You know what I mean? Nobody knows who Seven T's is. You dig what I'm talking about? So you know, when somebody says spiritual rate to you or ether, those are one of the code words for me. My ears perk up a little bit. It's like a little dog whistle. Oh, ether, huh? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Weather modification as a weapon was banned by the United Nations Convention. But guess what? Some countries might still be tempted.
Wow.
We don't really know what is causing the other half of climate disasters. It's like the fracking thing, you know. It's like the fracking industry.
Yeah.
The fracking causing, you know, it caused 100 earthquakes in Oklahoma when they were fracking about a decade ago.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I mean, and you know, one of them byproducts is that pet coke that they've been that they get from fracking out here. It's called pet coke, and it's like a black soot, and they stock it up here in Detroit, like right by the water. It's like a fine. It's like a powder coal dust, but it's the finest stuff you've ever seen. It's almost silky. It's so fine, and it just blows around, and big clouds of it come into the city. It's you know, that's how I got in or even understood what fracking was. I didn't even, you know what I mean. I wasn't even hip.
Well, I had a friend who happened to live in West Virginia, and there was a lot of fracking going on there, and he became an opponent of it, an outspoken opponent of it. So I learned about fracking through him. He was someone interested in ancient archaeology in Guatemala, and so I learned about fracking from him, and it's really a bad deal, and it's an alternative. According to the experts, to fossil, you know, the available fossil fuel. You know, the whole story can be told according to our energy systems and what we depend on. And you know, we've reached a point in time where the gas and oil is coming to us from the most repressive countries on the planet. And we're beholden to them. I mean, look at Europe now, trying to get gas and oil from Russia. I mean, the whole thing is really revolving around the energy system, and we've been pretty spoiled so far, but we're facing the come and get it day pretty soon.
Yeah. Man, this has been a great build. A great build. Let me see if we got some people. They put some questions in the chat.
Oh,
you dig what I'm saying?
That.
Okay.
I like that.
Is that cool? Has a map.
I like questions.
Let me see. Let me go. I would. Okay. One brother named Elijah asks, why would they go to such lengths to tell a lie?
You know, that's a good question, and it really does touch on the heart of the thing. And so we're struggling to come up with an answer. And, you know, it's what I think about when I deal with this material. And it occurred to me the last time I was thinking about it that this global warming craze, it's a hysteria, it sort of took off on its own, you know, and the different energies that exist in the world latched on, you know, and certain people are profiting from it, and it just sort of steamroll until, you know, it was important to maintain this as a true science because for so many reasons, one of them being that global warming is the ideal scapegoat for what we've done to our planet.
So they could just keep tearing it up and nobody bats an eye at it, huh?
Yeah.
And I take all your resources and I lie and tell you like things like, oh, we can run out of oil. We can run out of coal. There's only limited resources.
It's also a way to destroy or dominate the poorer countries of the world.
That's right. That's right.
And, you know, some of the right wing thinking is that the world is overpopulated. It's not.
It's not.
But yeah, it's not. But this is a part of the shadow elite, I believe. This belief in overpopulation, and who do they want to eliminate first? All the poorer people.
Yeah. A brother gave an answer to that question. What you think about this? He says one word: control. That's why they lie.
That too. But who wants the control?
They call them the cabal. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I would call them Druja.
Shadow elite.
Drux. Yeah, the shadow elite. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Bilderbergs of the world.
They want to have the planet for themselves.
That's what they say. That's what they say.
That's part of it. There's a lot of branches to it. You know, there's no single answer.
Right.
This is like the big lie of our time. In the darkest hour before the dawn of Cosmos.
We rushing towards that light too, towards that semi-dan or that time of etheric light. So I also see the most evilest of the Drujans and Drux will be hurrying up to try to implement their plans to try to keep their heavenly places still situated, and their Drux in control on the ground as we're screaming towards this time of etheric light where all that stuff is about to fall. You see what I'm saying? So I think just like when a false god is getting towards the end of his reign and the grades are falling in his kingdom, and he's trying every little evil thing he can do to keep his little kingdom afloat. I believe the false gods are doing the same thing today, but especially in America, our angelic hosts or guardians are the Algonquins. It shouldn't be no question why the Negro is today telling y'all he the Indian. Once you know that his Ashar is the Indians, his ancestors anyway. But I was going on to say, where was I at?
John says the Algonquins and the Egyptians are here in Gautama in spirit, bringing in Cosmon.
Luamong here too.
She's seen them. Dressed in their costumes. Dressed in their ethnic costumes.
Who said that? Joan said that?
Yeah.
I gotta get Joan on the show then.
You sure do.
Yeah, I gotta get Joan on the show then. Joan, you watching? You next. You know what I mean? We gonna get you on the show, sis. You gotta tell that story. You got to tell that story. I got to hear it.
But not everything is drugs, because sometimes I've been stopped from calling it drugs because of the anti-Jehovians, and they are very advanced angels, very intellectual and smart, and intelligent and clever, and then they're not drugs. They're anti-Jehovians. Glenn calls them AJs for short, and those are the guys probably behind the shadow elite.
That's definitely who's behind it. But what we gotta also look at, while the dark is working its dark magic, it's doing its dark thing. The light, the angels of the second and third resurrection are rushing to get etheric brides and bridegrooms ready for the semi-dan. So they are like, it's like finals test time these last 26 years or so. You see what I'm saying? They're like cramming, for the final test. So with just as much, well more power the higher light is moving people up. You see what I'm saying? While that lower light is still trying to hold people down. But it doesn't, in the end of the day, I don't get what they don't get. You can't win. You can't win.
Global warming is a house of cards. All the people like myself who have taken the position that I take have called it a house of cards, and it's ready to come down any day now. There's been I've seen little hints of it in the news and in the commentary, and but there's so much invested in it. It's a very strong. It's still a very strong structure. I mean, look at the president we got out of office just last year. You know, we're getting there. We're getting
there. Yeah. I think there's another sister. She said, repeat that number, please. Oh, okay. Oh, she talking about the age of the earth is 14,247,174 years. We're 174 years into the Cosmine era. We were 14,172,000 years at the time of the creation of man. We are 75,000 years after that, or the 25th arc cycle. After that, so you add that to the 172,000, you get 247. You dig what I'm talking about? And then you add the 174 years into the Cosmine era. So we are exactly 14,247,174 years into the Cosmine, or into the Eoptian actual, well, the age of the planet. We are 75,174 years into the Eoptian age, just a little bit over half. Just a little bit over half. We was halfway. I think Jehovah said we was halfway in the Archspeta during the period building of the pyramids. That was about halfway. 24th, 20. We're going into the 24th arc cycle, Archibon. Yeah. 14 million. Yep, 14 million. We'll see if we can get another question. Okay. He said, why would he go through so many? Why would they go through so much, tell so many lies? The sister said, that's their job to lie.
You know, part of the answer to that is that they don't know it's driving climate change. They really don't, because they haven't gone to Creator's Book of Revelations.
Yeah.
The Book of Cosmogony and Prophecy and so on. They don't know. Honey, it's just so much guesswork, pounded with guesswork. And so not only is global warming a scapegoat, but, you know, they don't know what they're talking about. They don't have a clue. The white man's science has gone off the rails. They don't know what's going on. That's why they have to, when they come up with something that catches, that they caught the public imagination through the media, through repetition with a big lie, that's what they go with. That's all they got.
Wow. I got another question for you, Sue. What's in the Grand Canyon that they don't want us to see? Random question, but it's a good question. What's in the Grand Canyon that they don't want us to see?
Maybe that's where they staged the moon landing.
Oh, never thought of that. Now,
that's a joke, by the way, but I still, there's something behind it.
Yeah. Now they've come out recently and they blocked it off, and some people said that there were massive Buddhist and East Indian style and Egyptian a cavern full of these massive statues that would represent a Buddha or um, uh, you know, uh, maybe a sphinx like structure, but they say they got the style of Egypt, and some got the style of East Asia, some got the style of Southeast Asia, like Buddha's and Brahmin style.
Wow.
Yeah, and they you can't go down there. They literally block that end of the river off. Like you'll get shot by the government trying to go down there. So
I don't know a thing about it, but if they made a discovery there, it's no surprise that it hasn't reached the public. When the Dead Sea Scrolls was discovered in the first centennial of Cosmin in 1947 or 8, one of those two dates. I'm sorry. 1948. Let's just say 1948, when the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. Honey, it took decades before they, fussed with the translation and all that, and until it came out to the public.
Okay.
There's probably parts of it we never heard of that disproved aspects of Christianity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll just answer this question. Shebrew Faith is 144 says, who dug the Grand Canyon and who built Mount Rushmore? As in, for Mount Rushmore, my ancient indigenous elders be telling me that they had different faces on them before they blew them up and carved them into the faces that you see today. They had Aboriginal indigenous men faces on there. You dig what I'm talking about, on that mountain before George Washington and them got there.
They did it in Indian territory.
Exactly. It's right in Indian territory. That's South Dakota. And who dug the Grand Canyon? To be simple about it, I would say, going by what I know is true, it wasn't as deep as we see it now, but I believe it was dug by Ahoans by hand.
For what purpose?
Transportation. I think it's very old. I think it's 50,000 plus years old.
Well, it's interesting that you say 50,000 because that is the figure I usually use when I refer to the unknown ancient maritime civilization that Owaspy informs us of.
Mm-hmm.
And so it also we don't know what happened, but with the navigational skills that the people had in tens of thousands of years ago here, they could have reached Guatemala, and people could have come from Africa. People could have come from Polynesia. We really don't know. So when a mystery like this pops up, it could have been from the advanced people of the earlier time frame.
Exactly. I believe it's exactly what you're saying. But I believe also, I have no proof of it, but I do have proof, because they dredged the Osceola, or what we know as the Mississippi. They dredged it. It's a man-made river. So, and we know there was a time where this was the big thing for kings and all these people do. And then you gotta take into account the atmosphere of the planet. They never take into account how much oxygen was on the planet at the time. Why the Ahuan at certain times? You got to remember, the plants were large. The megafauna were large. We still had dinosaurs on the planet.
There was a period of giantism, and at the moment I can't put a date to it, but early on the planet, everything. I mean, the beavers were like the size of a cow, and the plants were huge. And this is true. This is true.
We gotta take into account what was going on the planet at certain times. You know what I mean? So let's see if we can find us another good question. Let me see. I sent your invite, brother. Yeah, okay. The brother also says he's just a statement. It's just a statement. He says the creator is revealing so much truth, it keeps blowing my mind. This is fascinating. I thought so too, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Man, listen, when she brought up, I didn't come up with this topic. I was gonna do something else. She was like, nah, son, we ain't about to do that old. You gotta remember, that's like having a hit song. Let's say you do a thing real well. You made a hit song and it goes platinum. But by the time it goes platinum, you've done that song a billion times. You personally, even though we think it's the best thing since sliced bread, you personally are tired. You don't even like it no more.
Since Carter's little liver pills.
You don't even, you see what I'm saying? So, we got to kind of, and listen, this is one thing that I like about Owaspi. You never get tired of it. No. Every time, there hasn't been one time I haven't opened this book and see. I've read this book about 5-6 times, front to back, and then all the, all the rest of the read. And I'm still not like a Book of the Wars 25 and 8. It says, you know what I mean? I'm not still one of those. I've read this book 6-7 times, but I guarantee you, it hasn't been one time I opened this book and firstly, I seen something that I didn't never see the first 6 times I read it, or I get a different little slight view on, and boom, and it just blows your mind, man. This thing is nuts. Our creator is crazy. He is nuts. He cuckoo. He is, listen, he has to be out his mind. Have you seen the galaxy? Have you been watching the James Webb Telescope? He does some stuff. Ooh-wee. He has to be out his. He has to listen. Okay, think about this. Our Father's so great, right? I like to say this. This is my little saying. He created the possibility for the possibility of all possibilities. He's that guy. He is that guy. You know what I mean? This dude, man, I love him. I really do. I really do. Yeah. You know what I mean? He is my guy, man. That's Pops right there. You know what I mean? Yeah, real dude. I'm back and forth with Cosmo and Sela. Oh, Sela is on. That is right. Okay. Okay. Oh, I know the sister. She gonna want to. I think we're gonna get us another session. You know we about to do with this Pooch. You know I'm about to have you up here every week if I can. You know what I mean? We can just sit down and talk it up, chat it up. You hear me?
We've been here more than 2 hours.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Breaking it down. Let me see if we got anything else anybody asks. Does she rock? Okay. Oh, good question. Good question, Bronze Yogi. Before we go, have you heard of the books of the Law of One?
What is it?
Books of the Law of One. You never heard of the Law of One?
I don't think so.
Oh, what is the brother's name? And come to find out, these dudes were it was two guys, two scientists, and his scientist wife. They were faithists. They were doing trance work with a
What are their names?
oh wow, man. Hold on, let me and they had a little whole faithist.
Wait a second. I know who you're talking about.
Is it Dennis and hold on, watch this. And they had they channeled a spirit named Ra. Did you hear this one yet? It's got 5 books. And the dope thing about it is they asked about a waspy in the book. They said, well, you say you from this Galactic Federation of Angels or whatever. You heard about this book, Owaspy? They said, yeah, Owaspy come from the good guys, the Galactic Federation. Those are my homies.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say, yeah, but they got another book down there called Urantia, and it's trash. It's from the bad guys.
I know it.
Oh man. Let me look this up real quick. Law of One. Let me the Law of One. This is the raw material. Raw. I want to look. Okay, I know you know this name, Don Elkins. The Law of One material is a series of 106 conversations called sessions between Don Elkins, a professor of physics and UFO investigator, and Ra, speaking through Carla Ruckert. I wonder if she was an Elois. If you can look into that. Ra states that they are a 6th density social memory complex that formed on this is what threw me off right here.
Yeah.
It says they are a 6th density. This is what Ra says he is. Social memory complex that formed on Venus about 2.6 billion years ago. Ra says that they are humble messengers of the Law of One, and that they previously tried to spread this message in Egypt with mixed results.
You know, it sounds like Edgar Casey
to me. It almost does. Yeah. But one thing they are doing in this that I've never heard before, they are giving praise to the Creator. Ra is giving it up. And Ra says they messed up Egypt. They taught these people about healing and all this stuff with the pyramids and all that technology was giving them. But the people went and used it the other way. And now you got false.
You know what? Ra is one of the tetracts.
Mm-hmm.
Ra is one of the tetracts.
Yeah, I remember that. Ra is the destroying, or the let me look that up real quick.
What? Now, I'm getting a whiff of the anti-Jehovians from this type of thing.
Ooh.
I'm just like that. I just get a whiff of it, you know?
Yeah, well, one thing I do know is that feeling don't never be wrong. That little small voice has never, ever been wrong.
That's why I say, instead of looking at the drugs, let's look at these high-raised angels who are anti-Jehovian. Glenn calls them AJs for short. And I think they're the ones trying to hang on to the events that are the juggernaut that's bringing us into Cosmos.
And we was just talking about something, and I was about to go in on Waspy and look for it, and it threw me off that fast.
Look at that.
Yeah, but that I had never heard it put like that. I had never heard it put like that. And my gut is telling me you might be right. My gut is saying, yo, you better listen, cuz. That's what my gut, and my gut ain't never wrong. I'll be wrong not listening to it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Not listening to it, I'm wrong.
I do.
You know what I mean? This is dope. This is dope. I gotta have you up here more, fools. You dig what I'm talking about? And we just gonna build. You dig what I'm talking about? You my type of people anyway. You talk shit. You say what's on your mind. You don't give a damn about what they talking about, what they say it is. We gonna lay down what it is.
I'm so happy. You know, I was thinking this afternoon that this global warming thing has been a thorn in my side for 20 years, and that tonight Mr. Cal is taking out that thorn.
That's right.
He's removing that thorn.
That's right.
My side.
Well, you got people to build with it now. You know what I mean? We coming around. You know what I mean? You've been around a lot of people who did a lot of great things, but it was all in-house. Now it's time to give it to the world. There's no holding back now. I got it free. I got the information free. I'm going to give it free. So guess what's going to happen? I'm going to get more free.
And I'll tell you what. I have heard from Joan that the idea of the turnover happening in 2050, you know, at the time of the Dan, or 2048, that the English church, when they tranced this subject, they said it would be accelerated and it would start coming on in 2020.
Ooh-wee.
So that's the vibration we've been discussing, me and Joan, all along. You know, that it keeps coming up. That hey, it got accelerated, and the process is already well underway.
Didn't I just say that? I just said that.
Yeah.
I did listen. I listen now. I listen more now. You know what I mean?
Oh, good.
I listen more. I listen more.
That's why they give Buddha such long ears. It stands for the good listener, you know?
Listen, we done went 2.5 hours like it wasn't nothing.
I know it.
Like it wasn't nothing. Listen, I'm not tired. I am hyped. I'm geek. You dig what I'm talking about? They'll tell you usually I'm a little more serious. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Going hard in the paint. And today I feel good. So, hey, so your answer is, Bronze, yo, I don't know, cuz. I don't know. You know what I mean? I always thought that Venus thing, because when you say you from Venus, first of all, we know you ain't here on Earth doing nothing. You dig what I'm talking about? You're not doing nothing here on Earth. So when you say you from Venus, all I know is the other people who say they from Venus are Drujas. They are even though they're high rays, they're just negatively high rays angels. You dig what I'm talking about? That go and trick people and tell them, oh, we're Nordics, or we're little grays, or we're the tall grays. We are the wind whisperers, or whatever. You dig what I'm talking about, from the planet Vildek, or you see what I'm saying? Yeah. We know that they're really spirits.
Right.
You see? So I always thought that was odd.
From the first resurrection.
Yeah, from the Lord resurrection. Because you telling me a story looking from the ground, looking up.
Right.
You telling me you giving me that low, and people can't get that. When you coming from the second resurrection, right? When you inspire from they're gonna tell you something from the heavens down.
Yeah, that's right.
You see what I'm saying? They're going to tell me something with a point of view that ain't got nothing to really do with earth, but how to better me spiritually for when I get there. They ain't going to tell me about how to hit the lottery. They're not going to tell me I'm going to be some big fancy king, or they're not going to tell me nothing like that. You see what I'm saying? Or they're not going to tell me a story about a galactic federation somewhere that's not based there in the federation, telling us how the federation run, not about what happens on earth because of the federation. You see what I'm saying? We don't want the low view. You see what I'm saying? The ant is trying to tell the hawk story. You see what I'm saying? We want the hawk story telling us about the ant. So once you learn that, man, we say what? Brother Daryl wanted to. Is Brother Daryl still in the house? Brother Daryl still in the house? Cosmoni and the thorn remover. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get my sister together. I don't know how y'all treat y'all sisters. I treat mine good. You dig what I'm talking about? I was raised by a black woman, wasn't playing none of that. You dig what I'm talking about? We don't do no disrespecting over here. You dig what I'm talking about? And she ain't raised no punk. You dig what I'm talking about? So we'll fight you about it. All my sisters, all y'all, all my brothers. I love all y'all. Those northern lights, what's giving them their illumination? Vortexia.
That's a good topic. They've got now there's another one where they've got it 180 degrees wrong. It's the opposite. They say that the aurora borealis comes from solar flares and stuff, coming down.
Yeah.
No. The northern lights, the borealis, it's coming from the center of the earth, because the vortexia comes to the earth in the daytime and is discharged through the earth in the nighttime in the form of the northern lights.
I got it. What you?
In Oaspe, I can't tell you which verse, but there's a verse or two in Oaspe that says exactly that.
Yep, and you kind of hit on it, I think, a little earlier. Where are we at? I think that consequently part of vortex 10 times in diameter. Okay, I know it's chapter 1, cosmogony and prophecy. Hold on.
We went to verse 11 and verse 23.
I think we. Let me see. Is Vortexia.
Vortexia. That's Vortexian energy coming out of the earth after it's reached the center of the earth, and just being discharged from the earth is Vortexia, and one form it takes is the borealis light.
Yeah,
it's coming from the earth, not to the earth. They got it exactly opposite of what it is. Like everything I was talking about.
Here you go.
They got it the exact opposite.
Here you go. And this is chapter 1, verse 20. In like manner, the vortex of the earth constantly chargeth the earth with its vortexia in the east and west, and it manifested in the northern pole of the vortex in flames of fire, which are called borealis. But
you found it.
But it sometimes happeneth over high iron mountains that the light is manifested in other directions. A Suis can see vortexia as is proven by placing a horseshoe magnet before him in the dark, and he will describe the polar light escaping, even though he hath not been previously informed. But I also right here, hold on. I want to give y'all an idea of why the vortex moves in the way it does. Because yes, it spins on itself, but look how the energy moves south to north. While it's spinning this way, clockwise, the toroidal or torus field, south to north, or the weaker force, is jammed through the bottom. And because vortex or ether is cold, that means the coldest, largest part of the planet will be towards the sun, which doesn't make sense. So our south, this is why our planet has a tilt. The south is tilted towards the northern Haidan part of our central sun, of our galaxy. Oh, okay, so the weaker force moves south to north, as the greater force moves east to west, as it was just explained right here in verse 20. And he said, in like manner, the vortex of the earth constantly charges the earth with its vortexia in the east and west, and it manifests in the northern pole. So that means it has to go south first. This is why the bottom of the planet has nothing but ice on it, because space ain't hot. Space is cold. Your sun don't give heat to your planet. It steals it. It doesn't give light to your planet. It steals it. See, they got the opposite of what a black hole is. A sun is a black hole. Light don't even escape it. It's trapped in its atmosphere.
Oh.
This is why space is dark. If it's a fireball giving light to a planet, you dig what I'm talking about? That's 26 light years away, or some mess. You dig what I'm saying? Every space in between the face of the sun and the face of the planet would be hot, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's freezing cold. As a matter of fact, the James Webb telescope, which I at first assumed that they sent the James Webb telescope out of the galaxy towards like Pluto, or, you know what I mean, towards the outer ring. No, they sent the James Webb telescope towards the sun. And guess what? Right now, this second, right now, it is functioning in space, heading towards the sun. It's heading towards the sun. It is functioning at 373 degrees below Fahrenheit.
Oh.
Space is freezing cold. But Moses taught us that. Moses and Jerub and Elias taught us that when the chariot came down to see Yeshua's birth. This said, the Israelites said they felt the cool breeze.
The cold winds.
Yeah, they felt the cool breeze falling off the ship. And we know they're ships, so they had engines. So what they're using, the force, vortex, is cold. So that means space is freezing. Whoo! We got to get on down and break it down one of these days, Pooh. Got to break it down. It got to be broke. We're going to write a whole... Listen, Owaspi's going to turn the whole world on his head. Science is over with as we know it. It's already over with. We are now building the coffin.
I like that.
For the scientific model. Only the faithists do the good things in this world. I believe Owaspy when it says that. I believe
even
it.
The faithists who never heard of Owaspy.
They don't even know they love the Creator.
Yeah.
I like them the most. I don't care what nobody say. I like them the most. Because you don't even know why you doing the right thing. You just doing the right thing. They're my type of people. They're my type of people. You know what I mean? You ain't got to love him like I love him, but you willing to do the work? You, my brother, come on in. Simple as that. As simple as that. But yeah, you might get you a I ain't gonna lie to you, Pooch. You might get you a couple pages in the next Owaspy. you might get a couple pages in the next Owaspy. I'm just saying.
Golly. Oh, shucks.
I'm just saying.
Oh, gee, golly.
I'm saying they're gonna talk about you. They're gonna talk about you. Cause I'm gonna talk about you. You see what I'm saying? They're gonna talk about you. You know what I mean?
Thanks for dragging me out of my dungeon for this hours of light.
That's right. That's right. You dig what I'm talking about? We had to come down here from the Ethereal heavens. We had to take off our moon boots and our Jupiter glasses and you know what I mean, our nebula scarves. You dig what I'm talking about? We got scarves and streamers of nebula. You dig what I'm talking about? Just, you know what I mean? So we had to come down here through atmosphere, down in the ooze, and like we say in the Creator Gang, you bring them, we raise them. So trust me, somebody got some uplifting edification tonight. You can trust me on that. I did. If didn't nobody, the crazy part is you confirmed things that I knew, or I thought I knew, or I think I thunk it. Either way, you was confirming the things that were written on my soul already.
Yeah.
Huh? This is why I like Owaspy. Because it's like you telling me something I already kind of know. Like, dang, that makes sense. I thought of that about 5 years ago. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, man, yeah, Don Elkins and Carla Ruckert are the people who wrote The Law of One. Poosh, I would just say, take a look at it. I'll send the book to you. That's what I'm gonna do. I got like all 5 of them. But I'm gonna send you. Yeah. I'm gonna just send you the first one, and you tell me if you want to read the second one.
Yeah, but that Venus thing, I don't know.
Right. What'd she say?
I just got my bullshit meter here.
Hey, the brother Miles Davis says she's saying the same thing I've been saying for years about Mars, but I couldn't prove it till I read it in the That's right. That's right. That's right.
And you know, while I was preparing for this, I kept thinking, it kept happening that I was thinking about the space program. There were certain elements of this material, that relates to the global warming argument that just kept reminding me of the space program, because that is the other big crazy madness. They want to go to Mars and terraform it. You know what terraform means? It means make it livable.
Yes.
They're talking about a dead planet and bringing it back to life. And guess what? Technology can do it. That's what they're saying. We are so smart. We have so much technology that we can hop over to Mars and bring it back to life. I mean, I never heard anything so idiotic in my life. But, that's what's happening. That's what they're talking about. But, you watch. That is going to disappear. The same as the space program to the moon disappeared after 1969.
Yep.
And a couple of disasters. They had that one disaster, and that was the end of it. And that same the space program is just another illusion. You know, we are meant to live here on Earth, and we have nothing to do with living on some other planet. I mean,
it don't even make sense. It don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Not to me anyway. My thing is, if I'm from Earth, I'm going to breathe Earth atmosphere. No, I can't go to Mars and breathe Mars atmosphere. Just like a guy from Mars can't come here and breathe.
I know it. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
And it's institutionalized insanity.
Wow.
But you watch it disappear. It's going to disappear. They're talking it up lately. They got some new idea how to do Mars, but you watch it disappear. All of a sudden, one day you'll say, "Hey, I haven't heard anything about that for a long time," and that it'll just go the way of go to the graveyard of bad ideas. Right.
It'll go the way of dinosaurs.
There you go.
Wow, man. Wow. This is crazy. This is crazy. And I was, you know what? I remember what I was looking at. My sister, shout out to Shebrew. She reminded me what I was looking for. And am I spelling this right? Tetrix? Tetrachs? Tetrix?
No, there's no H.
No H?
No.
Tetracks?
Tetracts. Tetracts.
Okay.
And you know, it corresponds to the word detract. The English word detract. It's what detracts from our character.
That makes sense.
And it's spelled the same damn way, only it begins with a T.
T. Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. I never did think of that. Okay, that's a good one. Okay, all right, got me on that one. Guys, that was dope. Tetracks. Hold on. Tetracks. Let me look this up. See what's going on with the goings on.
Ra is what? Destruction? Did you say?
Yeah, Ra. I know Ra means it means destruction. It means to destroy. It means to tear apart. It means to oh wow. Hold on, man. Let me, cause I don't see why I got this wants me, and it ain't got Tetrix in it. How I don't got the Tetrix in it? I know it got the Tetrix in it. I didn't see it.
You know, I got remembered by the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah. They're the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. Where? Okay. Hold on. Let me see. Because I know I got an OSB with it in it. And hold on.
I keep misplacing the Tetracks myself. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah. Where the damn is the damn Tetrix?
You want to have Peter on talking about the Tetracks. He's a good talker. And he's been specializing in that.
In the Tetrix?
Yeah. You want to have Peter on. He's a good talker.
Yeah, Peter be chopping it up. Shout out to OG Pete, man. He be giving. I'll be watching him. You dig what I'm talking about? And he know what he talking about.
Oh yeah.
He know what he talking about. Index 201 speed. Let me go down to the T's, to the Tetracks.
Oh, you know, this is interesting. Look what I found. This is equivalent to the Tetracks, and it's from Chuang Tzu, who's a great Chinese philosopher, and he said men have 8 blemishes, and there are 4 things which obstruct business. These should be investigated. And then he enumerates them. Meddling with matters which do not matter to you is prying. And the next one, to push one's way in, regardless of neglect, is to be forward. The next one is to adapt one's thoughts and arrange one's words. It's sycophancy, sycophant. The next one is to applaud a person, right or wrong, is flattery. And the next one is to love speaking evil of others is slander.
Yeah.
The next one, to sever friendships and break ties is mischievousness. And the next one, to praise people falsely with a view to injure them is malice. And next one, to give ready assent with a view to worm out the wishes of others, good and bad alike, is to be a hypocrite. These 8 blemishes cause a man to throw others into confusion and bring injury upon himself. The superior man will not have him for a friend. The enlightened prince will not employ him as his minister. To love the conduct of great affairs and to introduce change into established order with a view to gain reputation, this is ambition. To strive to get all into one's own hands and to usurp what should be at the disposal of others, this is greed. That's Chuang Tzu. Isn't that fabulous? And it's so much like the concept of the 7 tetracts.
Except with one more. And
Right.
this is I got this is the book of 8th. Is this the book of 8th? Let me make sure. Nope, this is the Lord's first book, 1 in 68, and it's getting to the ions. And it says 1 in 68, they shall remember the 7 tetracts. Dibba, the enticing evil. Ra, the flesh evil. Zima, the joking evil. Belial, worthlessness. Avin, vanity. Anash,
right,
delight in destruction. And Shaitan, desire for leadership, which is the captain of death. Dang.
Right. Where is Ra? I didn't hear Ra.
Ra, they say Ra is the flesh evil.
Oh. Oh boy. Oh boy. Bottom line. We got to it. We got to the bottom line.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. You got me? You gotta look into everything. I just look. Let me go. Let me see if I can find Ra in here real quick.
It's the flesh evil.
It's the flesh evil.
Someone said that on Facebook yesterday about self-desires. Self-desires. That's the flesh evil. One of the girls said something about self-desire yesterday on Facebook. Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. Let me go back up here because there's another one in the book of 8th. Let me see. The book of 8th. I think it's 1 in 10. No, 1 in 13. Was it 10 and 13? Let me look. Is it 3?
What are you trying to find?
There's another
set of tetracts.
It's chapter 13. Verse 10. One and 10. I thought it was. Yeah, cause let me see. Cause I just went to it. Hold on 1 second. I just went to it. I know I'm not tripping. Let me get to this. Okay. So let's go. Tetris. 10. What? 13. 1 and 10. 10 and 13. I didn't see that one. 13, 10 through 11. 13, 10 through 11. 13.
It's my bedtime, honey. It's later here than where you're at.
I don't think so. You Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's getting that time, though. We've been on this mug like 3 hours. You dig what I'm talking about? It's that time, though. We was getting it in, though. The Raw. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's the flesh evil in Osprey, and the Egyptian false gods made it into a high god.
A deity, yeah.
It's just some big deal in Egyptian pantheon.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah, everything turns to its opposite.
That's crazy.
That's a Japanese saying.
That's crazy.
Everything turns to its opposite. I love that.
Yeah,
that helped me understand a lot.
Man. Well, look. Poosh, my friend. We done killed him. We done killed him for 3 hours. Yeah. Now, it's time to put the moon boots back on. It's time to strap in. You know what I mean? You go use the bathroom before we leave, because we ain't about to make no stops. We about to go. Where you want to go?
We done good, brother.
You want to go see Frackapatty? You want to go see Hoab? You want to go check out Moses?
I want to go potty.
All right, then. We got rooms in the back of the Adivation. Go ahead. You did what I'm talking about. Thank you for coming through. You've been a light, and we love you. You know what I mean?
Thank you for pulling out the thorn.
That's right. I got you. Anytime you need me. You hear me?
Yeah.
And we're gonna build more. We're gonna build more. You dig what I'm saying? Here on this channel, as we leaving out, I like to say, breathe in, let the light in, because I'm Cosmon, and I'm out.
And oh yeah, put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh, it's that Japheth, that Chow Mein, that Papabul, that Tao Mein, since sunset in the arc of Wayne. My brain moving like Tao Sang, so ass above, it's so below. That up and that down thing, this flow is atmospherian. I call that a ground game. See, water is knowledge, so if I'm teaching, you're learning. So how your God make a sun without Vortexian current? See, the pattern is ponic, like I'm reaching out for my people. Oh, watch me flow through your speakers, you feel the force of the ether. And when the force gets the equal, I'm taking off like an eagle. Police popped the pastor yesterday for pushing Puerto. My DNA is Moshe, mix that thing with higher water. My spirit rate is OTN, it's just a higher order. Got more light than Kavita, rap a lot just like Tila. Went from sinner to saint, shout out my big homie Sela. Got more torque than a sports car, got more work than a door star. And the 4 million I make, I'm giving the Dr. Umar, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Super 7 in my rites and ceremonies. I'm married to Jehovah, holy matrimony. Confucius say, in the words of Caillou, before you hit the tomb, be a bridegroom. Only got one question for Miss Susan B. On how to last Ahuin is now a Angui. Blame my inspiration, I'm just thinking thoughts. But in the way of God's, we gon' keep it short. Why Jesus wanna kill me, Matthew 10:34. Just a couple questions that I'm needing to know. Oh, watch me flow, it's so potent. Set the vortex in motion. Super 7, I'm floating across the Aegean Ocean. Oh, you a Muslim now, so I guess you making salat. Well, I'm an Israelite, I'ma make him at the Shabbat. Got Moses on the bumper, super slap off in my spaceship photosphere. So I stay lit, peace and light to the faithless, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you're feeling up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied air. When you're breathing rarefied air, oh yeah. Put that Super 7 in the air. Tell me how you feeling when you feel it up there. When you in the sky breathing rarefied